Good evening, friends. I hope you've started a good week. Here it is Monday evening, and I'm all dressed up in my Sunday go-to-meeting clothes and nowhere to go to meeting on Sundays. I was talking to Brother Robert just a few moments ago and said this is the seventh Sunday I've been locked in, and I don't mind telling you it is a difficult thing. It had not been a difficult thing. It is difficult. My life, my being revolves around going to the house of God. But I can tell you that even in the midst of all of this, God is so very faithful. God's good. When I look at what I deserve and compare it to what God has done for me and is doing for me, I have no right to complain whatsoever. I can tell you that in everything that we go through, my heart, my spirit, my mind gives God glory and praise, because the praise doesn't just come in good times, because He teaches us throughout the Word He's there in bad times as well. Let me just read a portion of Scripture to you. We're going to spend a few nights this week as you can join us, and I want to deal and look at the whirlwinds of life. We all experience them. We all go through them. But I want to talk to you about the Master in the midst of the raging tempest. When the storms come, it may seem like there is no place to turn, no shelter to hide in. But I can tell you of assurance, God is there and He's faithful. Let me read some to you out of St. Mark's Gospel, chapter 4. And let's start reading at verse 35. Jesus has already had a busy time. He has been spending his time teaching and teaching in parables, because verse 34 tells us that, "But without a parable spake he not unto them." Jesus taught those listening to him in parables and stories that they could understand and grasp. And then when he left there, the Bible said that he began to explain and expound on those parables to his disciples. So let's look at verse 35. "And the same day, when the even was come, he saith unto them, Let us pass over unto the other side. And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him even as he was in the ship, and there were also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. And he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow. And they awake him, and saith unto him, Master, carest not that we perish? And he arose, and he rebuked the wind, and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said unto them," who's them? His disciples, "Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith?" And they feared exceedingly, and saith one to another, What manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him? What a question. What manner of man is this? So he finishes teaching. He says unto them, let's go over to the other side. Right there in that verse, the end of verse 35, he says, let us pass over unto the other side. You know what he was speaking into their lives that moment? He was speaking their destiny. Can I tell you this evening that God has your destiny in mind? He holds it in his hand. He watches out for you. He cares for you and I in the midst of all that we go through. You see, nothing catches God off guard. He is there. He is faithful to us in every situation. I think it's important to understand that the Master at the beginning of where we're reading has been through a very busy day. And when all of this storm comes up, he was asleep in the boat, resting his head on a pillow. To me, that draws an absolutely amazing mental picture. God was asleep resting. Do you understand why that was? Because he was functioning in his physical, earthly being. You understand that he was God and he was man. And the bottom analysis is he was God in the flesh. But he functioned for those years in the realm of the flesh. So understanding that Jesus himself, the Son of God, who spoke all into existence, functioned in the earthly realm, and he is very familiar with the same kind of things that you and I deal with on an ongoing basis. Sometimes, just like it did with these disciples, they've got him in the boat. He has told them to go to the other side. And in the midst of the sea, this great storm came up. Now understand, most of these disciples were men of the sea. They understood it. They understood the atmosphere. They understood how it all came together. But in the midst of the journey across the water, a storm came up instantly. Well, before I close, let me just tell you that in your life and my life, that is how storms happen. They don't just stand around on our elbow building up and building up. No, the storms of life will happen quickly. When my brother got so sick, it came quickly. A heart attack comes quickly. The storms that we travel through come quickly upon us, and sometimes we don't have time to prepare for that storm. So what we have to do is have ourselves ready, so when the storm hits, we are able to come through everything. Now, in the midst of your storm, I want to close this evening by saying to you, 1, you are not alone. 2, God has your destiny in mind, and just as he came out from his sleep and spoke to the winds and the waves and peace came, he also was there to bring peace to our situation. You can't ask for a better friend than the God who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. So as we close tonight and get ready to embark this week on looking at this situation that happened to the disciples, understand that in the midst of your storm, God is there. He is faithful and He will see you through. He has not forgotten you. You are the apple of His eye. So look up. Your redemption draweth nigh, and Jesus is by your side. If you can, tomorrow evening, same time, come, join us for just a few moments as we look just a few places farther into this situation that happened on the sea. And in the midst of your crisis, understand God is there and He is your way out. Until tomorrow evening, God bless you. Go with God.
This question.